open mics. I know this thing's open right now. We're live mics.
We are live mics right now.
Hot mic.
Hot mic.
All right, guys. I mean, appreciate you guys for joining us. Hightop Sports right here. It's exclusive right here. There's a lot of people in here too, getting autographs and stuff. And as I said, appreciate this. And I tried this whiskey about 2 months ago. And I was just like, man, this stuff is really smooth. Molly actually made me an old-fashioned, a smoked old-fashioned.
Oh, yeah, nice.
So you know what you're doing then. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you drinking proper with it.
So I was just like, man, for like the price point and what you get out of it, like it's phenomenal, dude. It
100%.
literally is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's what we cared about too, man. Trust me, we didn't want to overprice anything with our whiskey. It's more for us a case number thing. It ain't what we can make on a day-to-day basis, but we just care about putting good quality liquor out there, man. We made our good coin while we was out there playing a gladiator sport, you know.
That's for sure.
Y'all got enough of it back in the day.
Right. We still got the old green money.
Yeah. We ain't gonna play around with the blue ones until that whiskey blow up crazy.
Oh yeah. So I have a lot of fan questions and comments from here, but obviously I'm gonna start just in general. I mean, you guys obviously are retired from the game of football. First round draft picks. I could only imagine. I'm already starstruck right here. I'm just like, oh my god, like what's going on?
We two regular dudes.
Yeah, we're just regular guys.
We the same as you. Trust me.
So if y'all obviously y'all got the Twin P whiskey.
Yep.
Is there anything else you guys have tried to get into, or is there anything you guys are doing after retirement, or is this just taking up like all of your time?
Go ahead, take off, Mike. Take off. Tell them everything.
We've been in real estate for a long time. So when we started young in the NFL, we met a financial advisor named Steve Voyevich, worked for Merrill Lynch, and then we got into real estate inside of Columbus, Ohio. So we own a bunch of apartment complexes. We have 3 bars in Ohio. We have this big development that's called the Charlie Brown Project. That's it's an East Market.
Yep.
There's a bunch of different vendors that rent out from us. The Columbus Brewery actually rents out from us. And then we also own a winery.
Hold on, before you jump out that, we got very, very lucky with the whole real estate side of it because we got locked in with the mayor and some of the city officials to be able to get grants and not be able to put up all our money from it. Obviously, we put up some coin for it, but to be able to be locked in with the city officials and be on the same page as them and seeing the growth and the regeneration of the whole entire city was a huge stepping stone for us, especially younger in our career. So
we surrounded ourselves around a bunch of successful people that put us in great positions to actually win in life. And so, like I was saying, we own a winery, we own a bunch of different real estate, but we got bored when we retired. We said we retired right after COVID, right? And we're sitting at the house and we're like, damn, what are we gonna do with our lives? I have a young son. We coach his youth football team. We have a travel flag football team, but it doesn't give us a day-to-day life. We have practice at 6 p.m. at night, and so we're trying to figure it out. And we both came up and was like, hey, let's do a lounge. Like, let's go and let's try and do a lounge. Let's do a restaurant. Let's get in that industry. And we have a really good friend that we actually play with the Gators named Carlos Dunlap that's actually in that the hospitality industry. And he's like, man, listen.
What is it called?
Honey Uninhibited. He has one in South Florida, one in Ohio. But it's become his whole life. And so he was like, you know what, let's reconsider this. We actually bought a building in Fort Lauderdale, said, you know what, let's sell it, let's get rid of it. And we get involved with the liqueur company. Liqueur company, what it does is it gives us a day-to-day life. Like, we go into different restaurants, we go into different bars, and we pitch this liqueur to get on their drink menus. And it gives us it gives us something to do on a day-to-day where our kids get to see us leave out the house in the morning and go do something 100%. Productive with our lives. And so we've actually fell in love with actually selling alcohol. We actually love drinking it, and actually I
love drinking it too, just to let you know.
Yeah. As adults only. 21 and up, baby.
Here we go. Our life.
I'm actually going to do a shot.
Shout out to, I had one underneath the table too. Yeah, I'll shout you out a little bit.
Whiskey for sure. But it's become our lives, and man, it gives us joy to not only be able to work, being in our mid-30s, be able to do something with our lives and go out and build something great for
not only just for our kids, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I always think about, man. What if our kids are mess ups or kids that don't make it in life? Like, let's be able to leave them something behind that they'll be able to benefit from. And so we take a lot of pride in that. And,
not even the mess up part, Mike. It's just that, man, the way we grew up and the way our kids grew up, man, they grew up a lot softer in life. And honestly, man, we spoiled the hell out of our kids, and rightfully so, because I used to tell other people all the time, when I grew up, I wish I could have been spoiled, you know what I mean? But it does breed a different total mindset of kids. But man, our kids want to go to the moon or be doctors or dentists or the next something different than just sports. It drives and motivates us to obviously, because we was big sports fans. Trust me, I got 3 daughters at the house, and I I've tried to beg them to play.
You can't make a boy.
Yeah. Hold on. I don't want the sock on the left foot. The AC on 64.
I don't know how to play baseball. I know there's 3 strikes though. I know that.
I'm out of there. I definitely make the Hall of Fame in baseball for sure.
Well, I think that's cool that y'all mentioned that too, because now they have the Gator Made program that actually sets up for kids going to school and sets them up for, I guess, success after school, especially with NIL.
Shout out to Florida Victorious with Nate and all the boys there, man. They do a phenomenal job, man. We're in communication with the University of Florida all the time, and we need everybody on board at the University of Florida. So you heard it here from the Pouncey twins. Everybody needs to be in sync. The world has changed now. NIL has become a huge deal.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Obviously, I believe in Florida Victorious. The things they bring to the table, the people they have behind it, man, they got some really, really good people that are truly heartfelt and they care about the athletes more than anything.
Yeah, Jose and Nate are good people, and we want to see Florida get back to the glory days.
I ain't want to shout out all the big names just in case everybody didn't know him, but Jose's, he's
good people.
Yeah, he's the big dog.
We want to see Florida back on top like it was back when we were there. So hopefully it gets back to that point, but
it needs to get back to that point because we're actually having Nate Barbera on next week for an interview.
Nice.
Well,
Good.
You got Nate on?
Well,
hey, shout out Nate. We already shouted you out. Nate,
you got big shoes to fill.
Hey, Nate, this seat big, baby. You better be able to fill it.
So whenever I preach NIL and how important it is for Florida Victorious and for winning, especially in this day and age, guys, come on. Florida Victorious, got to donate.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, man.
100%. Believe in what they got going on, man. They got some good people.
Before we get off that topic, man, I honestly feel like, man, the NIL program is an opportunity for the former players, for not only the former players, but for the universities to use the former players, because everybody's like, oh, why don't you guys become an NFL agent? Because you guys have played so long. All the kids will want to sign with you guys. But listen, that ain't our field because we're not lawyers. So that it's becoming an NFL agent, all you're doing is working for a lawyer or a firm. With the NIL process, I feel like, man, if you hire a guy like Tim Tebow, a guy like Brandon Spice, the Pouncey twins, Major Wright, all these guys that come back and work at your university and bring in these recruits because there's value in knowing tradition
and culture.
And we have tradition and culture where somewhere where, man, everyone's paying money for kids to go to school. You got to bring something else besides money value. And I think the tradition and culture is what draws parents.
And that doesn't minimize the academic side because
not most of the kids, but the parents that were our age or parents that are a little bit older than us, it draws them towards when tradition means a lot to the older
100%.
family. So much the newer generation.
And that don't take away from the academic side because trust me, we're student athletes before anything. You know what I mean? And the University of Florida prides herself and carries herself as student athletes.
Well, y'all done pretty well for yourself.
Yeah. Trust me.
We tried.
We had a great coaching staff, man. Hell, we believe in the coaching staff they got there, man. I'm pulling for Napier. I know they gave him a hard schedule this year, but hey, coach. You hear it, baby. Go out there and get it. Let's get it done.
Let's
get it done. You already got the number one recruiting class, baby. Let's holler. Let's get it.
So I've got a bunch of questions typed out, but I don't even need to read them because I already know what to ask.
Whatever.
Speaking of that, since we're on the subject of the 2024 football team, what's your opinion right now, Billy Napier, the job that he's done, the job he's doing so far? Obviously, he had to come in and he had to fix a lot of things
100%.
inside the program, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. And
listen, I'm one of them players that truly believe in giving a coach and an organization time to build. Man, when you fire people immediately, man, all it does is you think you're going to bring in something that the grass is green on the side. And trust me, sometimes it does work out to where the coach comes in and they have a hell of a couple of seasons. Yeah. But truly, if you're trying to build an organization, man, if you got somebody that's good in his position, the players believe in, the university believe in, and the fans believe in, man, keep him and give him a chance. Like, obviously, he's had the number one recruiting class over the last couple of years. You know what I mean? Big recruits coming in. You know what I mean? It takes time to build success. Mike played in the NFL, and trust me, he had, 4 different head coaches? I mean, I can guarantee you.
5 and 7 years.
5 and 7 years. So just imagine if he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers with just one head coach, with Coach Tomlin, and you see the
structures everything. Everything in this league, and I just feel like with college football, man, like, it's so much turnover that it's hard to have that kind of structure, and that's why the NIL program is so important because you want to build something where not only do the youth believe in it, but the families believe in it. Everybody believes in your program, and because I mean, who knows? Napier could win three seasons in a row and then sign somewhere else and be a new head coach. But what you can always fall back on is tradition and the culture of a program, and I think. Even a great example would be Alabama, right? Nick Saban's no longer there, right? Yeah. And people still believe in the culture because they built something over the years. It's like, man, when you think about Alabama, you think about the best top prospects in the country going to a school and building something special. And I truly believe that the University of Florida can do that because we're one of those universities and organizations that's been around for so long. people want to be a part of something special. It's not just academics, but it's on and off the football field.
Well, they call it the everything school.
Athletics and everything.
You see it on every single sports level, not just football. I know we brag about football a lot, but we don't dominate on every single sports level at the University of Florida. That's for sure.
And it's good to have folks like you around to teach the younger kids that are coming into the university, let them know and see, hey, look.
And Florida does do that. Don't get us wrong. Like they have guys on staff that was there, like Brandon Spikes is up there. There's a bunch of guys that are there that we were on staff, and
they bring people back. They just had a big barbecue for the old players.
Thing, just because I know how that's what that landscape in college football is going to NIL, and I think it's so important to get on top of what's going to be best for the NIL program, and how do you take advantage of it? How do you get in front of everybody else? How do you get a competitive advantage? And I think bringing back former players is that competitive advantage that you have in the NIL program.
Yeah, no, and that was one of the questions I actually had to ask you guys for was NIL. You pretty much answered the question there. It's like, back when y'all were playing football, y'all didn't have NIL. There was nothing like that. Man, if you transferred, you had to sit out a year unless you were a graduate.
And your coach got to pick from 3 schools that you could actually transfer to. Like now it's wide open. You could transfer any school.
Yeah, and speaking of that, it's funny we're talking about that because I saw a video with the Mod Black. I got it on here. I bookmarked it.
Okay. I think I was just watching this. This is him the other day.
Talks about USF. And, so what was the deal with that? Like I heard his story. He's like they may tell it differently. What is the deal? What was that whole story about? Like the USF thing.
So basically, just the old school ways. That's what it was back in the day. That's what they allowed. That's what it was, and so you had to abide by that. And then Ahmad had his interview was really, really long, and he was talking about South Florida sports versus Central Florida and the competition, how it all goes. And man, he made a lot of great points. And when you're in a mecca, because I've lived in both, right? So now I live in South Florida, and I understand, like, it's such a mecca where there's so many different kids, there's so many different people down there that the opportunity's more, you have a better chance of making it out of South Florida because there's so many more people. Yeah. If you make it out of a place like Polk County, if you have talent come up out of there, that means you're so special that, man, everyone notices you. And that's why I think that people appreciate what comes out of Central Florida more than South Florida because, man, we expect people to come from South Florida, man. That's where everybody lives at. No one lives in Central Florida and Middle Lakeland. No one lives there. So if you make it out of there, it's like, like over-glorified.
They're really building something,
it's over-glorified, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, like, just with, like, NIL and then before that, and, like, for you guys, like, y'all didn't have NIL. And I remember you were talking before we got here. It's like, man, there were some weeks y'all struggled.
Honestly, we laid the stones for it, though. Yeah. Like, so we're part of the group that we're more special for the kids that are being be blessed for that right now. Because we knew that whenever we won national championship, getting a backpack in the ring, it was like, dang, that is a little weird. But we enjoyed every single process. It's not like we're hating on it, but we're more proud of the process is extended to where it's at now. Like, kids deserve that.
And I'm going to tell you why we're like that, right?
So because there's a lot of people that think
there's some people that are sour about it, right?
Right.
I'm going to tell you why we understand it different because when we got to the NFL, right, we made millions of dollars just because we were good in college football. But those NFL guys that were there before us, they didn't make anything. They didn't make millions. So when I look at it like that, I'm like, somebody had to build the foundation for it to get to the point where, hey, you know what? Just getting drafted gets you millions
of dollars. Don't be the person that's negative on what the
like,
future is. You know what I mean? Let the future be the future.
There would not be no NIL process without college football and the whole NCAA before. There would not be no NIL process without it. And so you have to go through stuff to better, right? This country's been through stuff to better it, right? We've all been through civil rights to get to where we are now. You know what I'm saying? Like everything you have to go through something to do it better. And
let history be history, let future be the future. You know what I mean? Like just be happy that we can advance in life and we're not stuck in one place. You know what I mean? So whoever's on the hater side of that, man, grow up.
Yeah, you should just embrace it and just know.
So it was funny when it first happened. I was kind of on that side too until I started hearing stories like what y'all are telling, and like I've heard from other athletes and people that have been in the NFL and have done all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, man, maybe this isn't as bad as I think it is. So I'm one of those guys that like
because the narrative is that, man, hey, why is there a 17-year-old making more than a doctor?
Yeah,
and it's like,
well, they're making more than me.
you didn't care that much when the guy that was sitting in the suit that worked for the NCAA was making the money.
You didn't know his name, so at that point, you're like,
when you look at it,
make it because I'm blind to it.
Yeah, when you look at it like somebody was getting the money, why not it be the guy that's actually putting in the work? When you look at it in that aspect,
the guy you're out there cheering on, the guy you're actually showing up to the game for.
Well, you're also risking your physical, like you could tear an ACL, somebody can break your leg.
What a lot of people don't understand is that, man, most kids that play in college football don't make it to the NFL.
Right.
And
right.
so that is their NFL money. That is the stuff that gives them a jump start in life because that's what's making.
And I'm just telling you, it's
people excitement, them excitement.
It's not like you're going to do it for a long period of time. Most guys, if you're a superstar, it's 3 years because you're gone out of the junior year.
Yep.
But most guys who are getting paid it's a 1-2 year process where they're getting a chunk of money to where they might not ever be able to play football again. They might go to the NFL, they might play 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and they're right out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so this
you gotta
is a
look
jump
at it
start in
from-
life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it just.
We're not
Somebody's
haters on that
making
point,
the
man.
money,
We're thankful the times have evolved, honestly.
It reminds me of I can't remember his exact name, but y'all know Destroying on YouTube.
What's his name?
His name's
Destroyer.
Yeah.
He played at UCF, right? He was a kicker.
They took away his scholarship.
Took away a scholarship,
Yeah.
and he could have made
Yeah.
a shit ton of money with NIL because he was really, really big on YouTube. And that's a great example of a kid that, you know what? He didn't make it to the NFL. So why'd you stop him from making all that money while he could have made it while he was in, basically his prime of his life?
What is he now? He's in the Rocks
doing
League now.
one-on-ones,
He's in the Rock League now. He ended up signing in the Rocks League, right?
But he made a tackle and fractured his neck, so I think he retired. But he's done it all. He's in the flag football. He is in that world. Like my son knows Destroyer. Like my son knows all those guys because
people got to change, bro.
He has the youth football world.
All social media sites are big. Like if people want to be old, then be old. Like you could be old, just be stuck in your ways, and don't go out there and be outspoken. Like let the world change, but the world is changing. No matter, you're not stopping it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Social media is gonna get bigger. The platforms are gonna get bigger. The football, all type of athletes are gonna get bigger in this world. So just get ready for it. Rightfully so. And what we should be talking about is being able to teach them about the money they're gonna accumulate a lot faster.
Yeah.
Like let's talk about that instead of let's talk about we're steady talking about athletes getting money. Let's talk about athletes saving
Let's not
money.
worry about how
Let's
they get
teach
the
them
money
how
in
to
their
keep it,
account.
you know
Let's
what I
worry
mean?
about how to keep it in their
Yeah,
account.
100%.
That's the biggest picture. Like, because everyone's got the opportunity to make money, and
The youth can change the world. As older people, we all get stuck in our ways. I'm 35 now. There's some things now that I'm 35 years old that I never ever change because I'm stuck in my ways. You know what I mean? Let the youth be the youth and change the world because that's the only thing that's ever going to change is these younger kids. You know what I mean? For sure.
And I'm actually glad I had this conversation with you and we brought up NIL because this brings a new opening to how important it is. And a lot of people are just like, hey, man, these kids are getting paid too much. Not really. They're risking their.
Let's teach these kids. Like, why can't there be a millionaire that's 17, 18 years old? Like, let's teach this 17, 18-year-old to save his money, to be able to show his financial success in his life and be able to keep his money instead of just sitting there bragging saying or mad at this kid that is driving a Rolls Royce around. Like, matter of fact, let's tell him. Let's see how he bought the Rolls Royce. Let's see how he financed the Rolls Royce.
I want the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, we all want it.
100%.
We all want it.
Well, no. Me and Mike Pouncey ain't gonna buy no Rolls
we
Royce
ain't bought one
because
yet.
we teach financial literacy to high school kids. So we got a ed tech app that's coming out. We was actually working with Florida Victorious. You guys, Nate and Jose, them about it whenever you team up with them. But them boys are on our side with it, and we think that we got to be able to start teaching these kids a lot younger than college athletes because they're starting to get paid in high school. Texas is paying kids now. I mean, Florida's probably going to be on the docket here pretty soon to be able to play high school kids. So
Yeah, he just passed it. So
did they just pass it?
They
Okay,
just passed it,
so that's another thing. Like, let's get on the path of start teaching these kids instead of hating on these kids for sure.
Yeah, and I think it's really smart. Like, it's okay to splurge every now and then. Like, if you run into a bunch of money, like that probably costs more than my house right now.
No. This here was $22,000. I know it looks like a lot, but this was only like $20,000. But trust me, I played 11 years. If I didn't have this, hey, listen, guys, I drive a Ford Raptor.
And listen, don't
played 11 years in the NFL.
$100,000, guys. So
Yeah.
But like it's a Toyota.
Well, what you said, Rolls Royce? That's $500,000, ain't it?
Yeah, but I mean, you still in a nice ass car. Don't get it wrong.
Yeah, don't get it wrong. My bad.
Oh man, I could talk to you guys forever.
You see, my brother gonna call me out.
Yeah. So obviously, you guys didn't grow up in the NIL age. What was it like though? Because I want to know. Like, I personally, and I wrote this question down because I really want to know what it's like to get your name called first round NFL draft. Your life changes forever after that. What's that like?
So I came out first. So I was a junior. The whole process with us, we actually did it at my house in Lakeland.
Yeah.
The house we grew up in high school. And I'm just telling you right now, like, for people to say, like, man, that I've never had that feeling ever again in my life. To be able to have that person that's sitting there waiting for the anticipation of that phone call to come in, like knowing that, man, this is the opportunity of the life that can actually happen. And when it actually came in, honestly, having the phone, I didn't even know what to say. I'm the most talkative person ever. Mike's a way better talker than me, but I'm on there like thinking I'm gonna have all these words for the coach, and all I could say was thank you. You know what I mean, like. I can't wait to show up for you guys. So
one thing I can tell you about the draft in that moment is that, like, you know, we all dream big, and like we have dreams where we're like, all right, they're achievable. But some dreams that you have, you're like, man, when I was a kid, we always thought about playing NFL. We never thought it was gonna come true.
Yeah.
Because it's like one of those dreams you set so big, you're like,
even when the
like,
reality's right there in front of you, you still can't believe it.
Yeah, and like, when they call your name, you're like, damn, man, like, dreams do come true. That's why we always tell people, man, dream big. Because, man, no matter how big you think the dream is, there's a possibility that it can come true. Like, we didn't think we was going to get drafted out of Lakeland, Florida. Like, who was going to come find us? Like, even when we got to University of Florida, it was like, all right, man, you're in a locker room with 115 other people. Like, you're competing at the highest level of your life. Yeah. And then everything just fell together for us. We won that championship. We were on a great football team. And, man, the dominoes just fell in place. And I tell people all the time, man, a lot of the part of the process is, man, everything falling in place because, man, we avoided injury at that time. We was on a great football team.
Yeah, I mean,
got a lot of exposure too.
You got to have the cards fall in your favor sometimes.
You know what I'm saying? Because if they don't.
And that's why we tell kids now start early because exposure is the biggest thing you can have for your kid.
Yeah, I've seen so many successful football players like get injured and they can't play football ever again. Yeah. I remember when Nick Chubb got hurt. Yeah. I felt so bad for him. And it was that Tennessee game.
Yeah, it was crazy. Unbelievable.
I am so happy.
I hate seeing the way
he's back now to be able to play football again.
Yeah,
but that dude is 500-something, 600 pounds. Like
this is the second time he's done that, and he's had that horrific injury where his knee kind of went all the way. I mean, I hate talking about it, but man, to see him fight through that and get back to a level of All-Pro, Pro Bowler level, man, like
that's a
testament to.
And he plays for the Browns, so we were out here saying,
yeah, I know.
Man, shout out Nick Chubb.
Shout out Nick Chubb, man. A testament to him.
But only Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
To be able to come back from that injury.
Shout out only Nick Chubb only.
And it's funny because I obviously covered Florida, but at the same time, like I always loved Nick Chubb because of how he asserted himself.
Yeah, even at Georgia, that boy was a dog.
He didn't get involved in like social media, nothing like that. Like straight worker. And when he got hurt, I was like so upset. Like it really like it made my heart.
Why that dude? You know what I mean? Like why couldn't it be a guy that is a complete mess up or whatever? You know what I mean? But. Yeah, it's crazy that sometimes, like, magically that stuff happens and weirdly it happens. But, man, the good thing about it, man, he gives inspirations to other people that do get injuries and be able to come fight back from that.
All that stuff happens for a reason. Like, we're inspired by Nick Chubb. Even though he had to go through that, all of us are inspired by him, right?
Man, I can come back from a knee injury.
We'll be telling
like
our kids one day, whenever our kids, if they ever get injured, man, listen, there's a guy that you can follow. Like, I remember when I got hurt, I followed Kobe's rehab. I'm like, man, Kobe did it. I can get through it. Like, doctor told him he'll never play again. If my doctor told me that, I can get through it. And use that as an inspiration. I think that's Nick Chubb gives that to a lot of different kids that 100%. Are dealing with, significant injuries where, you look like you're never going to be able to play.
Who was the guy of our time? Lattimore, the running back.
Marcus
Lattimore.
He would have been a hard. In my mind, the way he ran the ball, I
watched that.
Could have been a Hall of Fame running back.
Like you could tell, even in fast motion, like
Jesus,
when he was running, I was just like, oh my god,
he was a monster. He was a great player. Like
he'd have been a Hall of Fame running back. I don't care what anyone says. Like man, that dude would have been like he was great on every level of football. You know what I mean? So for him to have that injury and him to come back to be able to still go out there and play in an NFL football game, like it gave inspiration to everyone that was around us. I'm telling being an NFL player, I was ahead of his time too. Like to see him be able to come back and do that, I'm like, man, you know what? Like that's motivation. And like never ever give up because bro, you still have the opportunity. You know what I mean? Because when you have an injury, I'm just telling you, like in the NFL, you already got to work 3 times harder than everybody else. When you have an injury going into the offseason, now you got to work 12 times harder. So it ain't no more fun. Like it ain't no more hanging out where you think you're gonna hang out. You know what I mean? Like it's time to grind. And it's 24/7. So for that dude to be at where he's at right now, man, a lot of respect out to him, bro, and a lot of prayers. I mean, me and Mike believe a lot, so we pray a lot for a lot of people. So. For sure.
Yeah, prayers out there to Marcus Lattimore for sure because, I mean, like, a lot of the things I see just as a fan, I don't even play football.
Yeah, I think he's coaching now. He's coaching now. Yeah, he's back.
So is Teddy Bridgewater is now.
Bro, listen, he's the one that's Teddy down there doing his boy.
Yeah. For Teddy, man.
But until they play Lakeland, Teddy, you know what it is now. It's on.
So I want to ask some fan questions. A lot of people in our Discord have submitted fan questions. But first, I want to ask you guys about Swamp Kings. We all watch Swamp Kings and all of that. And, they tell the stories on there. I know we were saying, like, there was a couple of stories that, they didn't tell or whatever.
They left the mishaps out of there for sure.
If there's a story that, I mean, and you can say whatever. If there's a story that you would want to tell on Swamp Kings, what would it be?
I just think that it ain't a story I truly want to like. I think it was more for them to like do the research on it. It was just that, man, for us to be as young as we were, for us to be where they brought us all in from, for us to have some of the mishaps that we had, like as adults now, like man, we grew and learned from that. Like obviously it wasn't like there's something that we don't brag about or cool to do, but like I just think at the time, like man, that time, the era that we was in, like for Coach Meyer to be there and the group of kids that he brought in from every different areas around the world, for us to all men together as football players, and then when we had our time off, and for some of us to like individually, find it, and not even saying like it was cool to do, but like all of us had like some small missteps, but like they didn't show that part of the growth of where we was at. They should have shown like some of the things like, listen, these are what these guys had. This is what the foundation they had around them. These are the coaching staff they had around them. Like Coach Adazio, Coach Strong was a part of the story. Like them dudes there, we looked at as father figures in our lives. You know what I mean? Every time we did step out of place, they was the dudes there on our ass, like our parents were right there behind us, giving us a belt whooping. You know what I mean? So like to not have them a part of it, it just felt a little. You know,
I have two takes on it. I have two takes on it.
They did a good job of showing the football part. I will say that. A lot of respect to them and
I got
Netflix.
Two takes because I feel like, okay, so when I watched Swamp Kings, even though we didn't do the interview process, I felt like they did a great job of showing us who Coach Meyer really was, right?
Yeah.
Coach Meyer was a guy that was full of second chances, that was misunderstood by people that really didn't know the ins and outs of who Coach Meyer was, right? And so that's why I love Swamp Kings, because it really showed that, you know what, he was a guy that was very, very lenient to guys, but man, it was for the right reason, because he understood that we were kids that came from
100%.
You know,
Absolutely
unfortunate situations that had nothing, that came from poverty, that there were kids that, you know, that needed a second chance in life, a third chance in life, because where we come from, right? And so that's why I love the documentary, because it showed that, man, you know, he was a guy that actually loved people that gave to him, you know what I'm saying, that did for him. And so that I like that part. But because
he did take a lot of heat from the being in the NFL spotlight.
So it cleared his image up a little bit, right?
It took away from what truly, like, he's such a family dude. Like, everything about Coach Meyer, we love to death. Like, and honestly, I tell people all the time, me and Mike joke around about it, but like, man, at the time, we love Coach Meyer to death, his family and everything, but we didn't, in our hearts, I don't think all the way, like, we respected enough what he was doing at the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and Mike was there, he would talk to us on a day-to-day basis, but some of our guys that came from Lakeland, he didn't have the same respect for it. And at our time, we're like, man, like, what the hell is that about? You know what I mean? But at the time, all he was doing, we didn't understand it, but all he was doing was teaching them to be men a lot earlier. So, like,
that's why I love Swan Kings, because it gave Coach Meyer great light, you know what I'm saying?
100%.
But we were there during that time, and we wanted everybody to know how the hell did you win 2 national championships? Well, we won 1, but how the fuck did Coach Meyer win 2 national championships with all the animals he had on his football team?
Oh, yeah.
That's what everybody really wanted to see. Everybody wanted to see, like, how the hell did y'all go out there and have all these, lead the NCAA in arrests and fucking win 2 national championships? That's what the people in the Gator base wanted to see. I think the whole world wanted to see that. So if they ever, you know, make another Swamp Kings and, you know, call this I don't know, what would this one be,
I don't know.
Yeah. We're gonna make
the X-rated version.
Yeah. Times 2. What?
Hey, maybe we can have one of those kind of versions there. Maybe later.
Because everybody. At this point
really
now, we all see who Coach Meyer was. We know who Coach Meyer is as a person. So anything that came out bad as far as what we did.
Yeah.
See, Coach Meyer takes a lot of heat, but, man, we were the guys that were getting in trouble. It wasn't him. You know what Coach Meyer was doing while we were out getting in trouble? Fucking sleep with Shelly in his bed. He was out, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I hate when everybody puts all the heat on him, you know what I'm saying? Because
he was in a deep dream. He was thinking probably about football, that punt block.
You know what's funny, though? My dad always told me it doesn't matter who you meet in life. There's always something that they've done wrong, or they have a skeleton in their closet somewhere. Everybody has them. Like me, I could tell stories on here and people want to get me canceled, but I'm going to go to some of the fan questions, and we'll segue a little bit. This one, these are from our Discord, so a lot of it is
whatever they ask, bro. We don't care. Trust me.
That's it. Yeah. You guys can curse whatever you guys want to do. Best locker room fight you've ever saw, and what was the craziest
which one?
lift? Best locker room fight.
Best locker room fight. Man,
I honestly, it would be. I would say
NFL or college.
College, I would say that Tim Tebow and Brandon Spice. They didn't physically fight, but it was one of our turning points in our season during that year.
Yeah,
right. We went out and played like shit on offense that game.
We played Mississippi State.
Yep. And Brandon Spikes, he was one of our captains, one of our leaders on the team, and they talk about this as Swamp Kings, but it's a real thing. Like, man, we didn't board that flight. We were 2 hours late to that flight because, we could not leave until we got over this because we were a band of brothers and Spikes and Tebow had a difference, and we're like, man, hold on.
They came
Spikes,
in together.
man, we look at you like a king, but man, this is baby Jesus. Like, you can't. And so we had to fix that situation, but they fixed it. And I think that's one thing that people underestimate is that the power sometimes of family having issues, right?
Yeah.
When you have issues sometimes as families, because a lot of times you care more than you should, you know what I'm saying? And I think that was one of those times where we had an issue where, man, it was a family issue. Guys, it meant a lot to guys, and we got through that. And
listen, I fought my brother before.
Yeah, we fist fought before.
I'm telling you right now, man, we'll do some things for each other in life that
you gotta let the stress out.
100%. And trust me, we always playing like dog shit.
I won that fight.
I got my. If he won, I got my punches in because there ain't no video of it.
If I'm going down, I'm bringing everybody with me. Right? So what's the craziest lift? Who lifted the most? In
Mickey,
the
man, shout out to Mickey Marotti.
Yeah, Mickey Marotti was the man. He made animals out of all of us. But I think
he's still with Ohio State right now. I feel bad for them boys out there. If Mick's still there training them
was
boys,
the strongest on the team during that time.
On our team?
Yeah.
I would probably say Joey Sorrentino was probably pound for pound.
Yeah, he was special teamer, one of the strongest guys.
As a walk-on kid. And did Joey end up getting a scholarship, Sorrentino?
Yeah, he
last year, right?
He's a dentist now, so.
Yeah, but shout out to man. I'm telling you right now, like man, that's what people don't understand, man. Sometimes people on your team that's gonna drive you. Yeah. It ain't the biggest scholar 5-star recruit.
Yeah, it ain't the strongest guy in the weight room. This guy was a walk-on guy that we all respected. We loved the way he worked. We had so much respect for him. Like showed up every day, like a guy that wasn't on scholarship, that got his ass kicked every single day, but showed up with a smile on his face.
He kicked the ass too, Mike. Don't let Joey down now. Joey was 39 out there, number 39. Yeah, 39. Y'all love Joey, man. Joey was that dude.
Now.
He was our Rudy.
So Stephen Harris is on our Monday show.
Yeah, Steve's great player too.
He wanted me to ask you, what do you know about Stephen Harris, and what does he mean to Florida?
Honestly, we was very thankful we didn't have to block Steve Harris at practice every single day. We was happy that we was on that era where he was on that national championship team, and we kicked him right out the door.
Yeah. They were on the way out. We was on the way in. But man, Steve's a great dude. He's a great football player. He's a Gator great. No, he didn't have the NFL career that we all thought he was going to have, but, man, that's most guys. And But he was a great football player. I know a lot of guys.
But that deals with a lot of stuff, too, Mike. Trust me. I tell people all the time, I know I made a lot of I was just going to get on that point. I know I made a lot of Pro Bowls and a lot of accolades outside of on the football side of it. But him, I always looked at Mike as a better football player. You know what I mean? So the simple fact that he was on the Dolphins, I was on the Steelers, I'm out there playing. And I give a lot, bro, trust me, team success comes with individual success. I don't care what anyone says in life. You know what I mean? Like, if they're thinking it's all about them, bro, I was on the team with James Harrison, Troy Polamalu, Ben Roethlisberger, Ike Taylor, my whole offensive line. Shout out to all them boys. Heath Miller, you know what I mean? So the play with Antonio, AB, you know what I mean? Le'Veon Bell, like the craziest part. The fact that them players just go through the roster, it made my not saying I ain't go out there and do my job and that excellent, but it made football a lot easier. We had a lot more possessions. Like the game when I was out there blocking, and trust me, I love Mason Rudolph to death. And I think Mason Rudolph's a phenomenal football player. But when you're out there playing with a guy who has the it factor, like Ben Roethlisberger had it, like, man, football was so and I didn't understand it because me and Mike used to argue all the time about this shit. He'd be calling me like, man, damn, bro, like the game. I'm like, bro, like, you talking about, like, man, this shit, like easy, like, bro, we're running through this shit, you know what I mean? Like, and then Mason started that year when Ben tore his elbow. Yeah. And I'm out there, and don't get me wrong, we had a phenomenal year. We ended up going to the playoffs and, you know, losing that game and all that shit. But the football got harder. Like I'm at the house and I'm like, damn, like, I don't know why we had that drive. Like, why wasn't the ball out here? Why didn't this running play work?
Why did we score on this drive? Why we kicking field goals?
Like, why didn't we go down there and just throw the ball to AB? You know?
But that's part of it. But
it's a part of the whole entire process of things. So, like, I tell people all the time, like, man, never ever, like, judge a guy of an error, like the situation, the guy, and like, man, let that part be what it is. Like, let the outside world judge that part. And that's why I think football does a good part of, like, judging guys in, because all of us sometimes want, you know, just the football players to judge us in sometimes. And I think the outside world sometimes gets a fuller aspect.
The outside world always judges people off the end, right? And so the end for a football player is the NFL, right? But if you sit here and I always give this analogy, right? We always look at who's the greatest NFL quarterback of all time. We think about Tom Brady, right? Think about Tom Brady. We think about Patrick Mahomes hopefully one day Patrick Mahomes, right? Yep. But then when you think about college quarterbacks, right? Tom Brady comes nowhere near your mind, right? You think about Tim Tebow, you think about all these guys. So when I always judge a guy off of, you know, was he a great player? I always think about, well, in his prime, what was he when he was at his best? Like, so Tim Tebow was at his best was in college football.
What organization
and
was
how I look at him is that he was one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Now, if we just say, hey, all right, well, I'm asking a guy that just knows strictly NFL, he's like, well, Tim Tebow's name never comes up, right?
Right,
but you got to kind of judge it off, you know, guys' best days, right?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, you talked earlier about, like, the cohesiveness in the locker room. And we interviewed Jeremy Crawshaw. He's one of the kickers, punters on the team. And he was saying that, like the locker room cohesion's gotten a lot better since Napier's been there. And there was a lot of time. He even alluded to, and I'm not going to quote him on this because I don't know his exact quote, but he did say, that there was a couple of people, some people that transferred out that they needed to get out of there because the locker room cohesion.
They're bad apples.
Like, how important is locker room cohesion?
Well,
Like,
it's
I mean,
very, very important. And I think a lot of people. So I hate it sometimes when players they compare the different staffs, right? So when I look at like a guy like Dan Mullen, right? When he was the head coach at the University of Florida, he had been there through the glory days, right? Where you had guys like us.
Yeah.
Joe Hayden, all the best athletes you can think of. And he coached one of the greatest football teams in college football history, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now you fast forward, he goes to Mississippi State, comes back to Florida, and everyone holds him to
Mississippi
that.
State.
Kills it at Mississippi State, right? Dak, all those guys, right? And then comes back to Florida, and everyone holds him to that same standard. And it's like, man, and even Dan had that same standard, right? So you lose track of, like, what's most important, like recruiting, all this other stuff, because you just feel like, hey, you know what? I've won. I've done this.
Success. That's what I was trying to say.
I've had all the success in the world. Why do guys just want to come here? And that's kind of where Florida fell in that funk, right? And I hope it doesn't happen in Alabama, right? Because now you're leaving like a guy like after Urban left Florida, how it turned out to be, And I'm not wishing on Alabama, but it happens like that sometimes because you know what? Everyone gets so complacent to where you think that, you know what? This is what it's supposed to be. This is what it's going to be no matter what. No matter what you do, this is what it's going to be. And if Nick Saban stays there, you know what? Urban Meyer stays at the University of Florida, that's probably what it is. But when you change staffs, you change structure, and you get all these different moving pieces, it's too hard to just rely on
different
that's what it
areas,
used to be. You got to bring a different funk. And I think Napier's doing that. And he's doing that because, I mean, you get a guy like DJ Lagway to come to the University of Florida. Yeah, how do you do that?
How do you do that?
How do you do that?
And not be a successful
After not
coach.
winning all these years, how do you get a guy like DJ? It's not. I mean, it has to be because he likes him as a coach.
But then all of us are going to sit here and feel like crap when they fire Napier, and then we got DJ Lagway with a brand new coach.
Yeah, we don't want
know
that.
DJ Lagway.
Like, we want the best for Napier and the Florida Gators. So we want them to be successful. And I think, with the guys they have, and we just.
Especially with the recruiting class he's brought in, man. Don't let this be the year.
Yeah.
Like, man, give him opportunity, give him a chance. Like, for me personally, I really like Napier.
I do too.
I like him as a person. Like he's like us. He's country as fuck. He's a football guy.
Like standard. Like
he's not like a guy that wants to be in front of the cameras all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you look for as a football player. Like, man, what is my coach? One of those coaches that want to be in front of the camera, take all the glory. He just wanted to just fucking grind us and be a good coach. And I think that's what Napier does. Like,
I think that's one of the biggest things that I respect.
That's just some of his negativity too. Like, man, because he doesn't expose himself to the media sometimes. Like, everyone has an opinion on him.
But there's two sides of that. When you're winning, it's easy to just be yourself. Like, no one gave a fuck that Bill Belichick stood up there and said no during every answer during his interview because you know why?
The moment Tom Brady left, they gave a
Super Bowl. Now they care. You know what I'm saying? So winning, it plays hand in hand with both, right? Yeah. Napier's the way he is as a person, like his characteristics, all that stuff. When you're winning, no one has any issue with that. It's just when you're losing, everyone's like, oh, well, he doesn't like talking to media. Oh, his personality's not outgoing. Like, man, fuck, all we care about is football coach.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that like I see at a Napier. Like I used to get mad at Napier and be like, why isn't he just fired up? It's like, no, this guy's so laser focused.
Yeah, he's football. He's just a football coach.
Like, yes, it may not be
dude
going.
Ain't sleeping at nighttime. You want him to start yelling at the interview. You know what I mean?
That's why. And listen, we're football guys, and that's why we respect them. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of coaches
understand what they go through.
Well, because we've seen what coaching's come to now. It's all the celebrity contests. Like, who's the hottest coach on the market nowadays? And they don't really give a fuck. Like, if a coach is a good coach, it's like, oh, what? He won 24 games in a row? Fuck, he's the hottest head coach out there. It's like,
let's bring him in.
You ain't got him on the whiteboard. You don't know if he can coach football. You just know that team won 24 games in a row. You know what I'm saying? And so when you're a football guy and you understand the football aspect of it, you appreciate a guy like Napier. We just hope that it all comes together for him because without winning, no one's going to appreciate Napier. You know what I'm saying? Because we're in a world where, man, we want winners. Yeah, University of Florida is a team that has to win.
And that's the thing.
And I'm just telling you right now, as much as we love Napier, I got to watch winning football at my house.
Yeah, I can't.
On Saturdays.
I'm going to get pissed off. I love Napier as a coach, but I'm going to fucking get I'm going to get mad as hell just watching the Gators lose. Like, that's just part of it. We're Gator fans.
I get the other side of it, too, playing devil advocate of it. Man, Coach, we on your side 100%.
Yeah, Coach, make it happen for us,
baby. Make it happen, Captain. Let's go. Let's ride, baby.
And that's it. It's like no matter what our opinions are, it's like we just want the Gators to win.
We just want what's best. I don't care. Listen, if it's Nick Saban coming there, if it's Billy Napier, if the Gators are winning, I don't care.
If it's Coach Meyer coming back, huh?
It doesn't matter. Right, like the Gators are winning.
And speaking of winning, what is more to you guys? What is more important, a national championship or Super Bowl? This comes from David Waters. You guys know David Waters.
National championship.
I just believe. I think national championship because you know why?
Man, man.
Why you say Super Bowl? I
ain't win one, so I can't
I
say
said,
it,
I'm
Mike.
gonna say we didn't win
It
the
got
Super Bowl.
silent.
We didn't win either one. I didn't win the Super Bowl. We won that championship, right? Neither one of us won the Super Bowl.
I couldn't
but
think of
why
a good
I say
reason.
national championship is because, man, listen, when you go to college football, it's because, man, you're fighting for an organization. You're fighting.
Right.
You got guys on that team that are fighting that aren't going to be NFL guys. Everyone's fighting for the common goal to be a champion, right? Mm-hmm. And the NFL, man, you're on a team that some guys are fighting for a bigger check. Some guys are fighting because they love football. Some guys are just fighting because they're out there and they're just on the football team. You know what I'm saying? And I think college football, there was more love. You know what I'm saying? Like there was more love for the game. Like there was
so
no.
much more bought into
I don't know what it is like now because guys are getting paid now. So I don't know if there's a business aspect to it. Or I don't know how. We don't know because we weren't there. But when we were in college football. Man, it was still the love of the game that we were kids. Like, we were still playing, like, youth football. We didn't get paid to play youth football. We didn't get paid to play high school football. So it still felt like you were still playing a game.
Yeah.
When we got to NFL, even our rookie contracts, still felt like we were still playing a game that we love. That now you get to your second contract, you understand, like, damn, this is a business. Hold on. I just played 4 years for these guys, gave them everything I had, made Pro Bowls. And now we're negotiating over a few dollars. Like, why don't they just want to give me everything I asked for? You see what I'm saying?
Right,
You understand, like, okay, this is
a real business. You know what I mean?
You understand that part of it. So that's why I say the national championship aspect, because when we earned the national championship, is because, man, we were fighting for a university. We weren't getting paid for anything. We were just there because, man, we love
culture. Like,
There's a lot of blood, sweat,
we
and
didn't
tears
call
in
Florida
that.
State. State. We called them the team out west.
Yeah,
like,
so it was a lot.
I didn't start calling them Florida State till I got to the NFL. Like, honestly, like, who do we got this week? The team out west.
The free shoes university.
Yeah, so it's a little bit. You get our aspect from it, but it's a little bit different for the guys now because, man, listen, you're getting paid, man, thousands of dollars. There's no
Some guys get
not
millions.
going up and showing up. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, listen, you're getting paid for this now. Like, there's no not having. You can't have a bad day. It's like being a pro.
It's like, and actually, I have a next question. It's like, what NIL deal would you like if y'all could pick an NIL deal these days? Like you're playing right now, like in college. What would the NIL deal be?
So the way I understand NIL, it would be for me. Right out of high school, it'd be a 3-year guaranteed contract, right? Because why I say that is because with NIL, it's not off if I go and make a play for you or score a touchdown. It's name, image, likeness.
Yeah.
So right away in my mind,
what if I ever play a down or not? I can sit on the bench.
Yeah,
you're signing me because of my name, image, and likeness.
We're amateur athletes. You can't pay us to play for our performance, right? So you're just bringing me there because you know what? I'm a high recruit. I was good in high school, so I should be guaranteed that money. That's the way I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how we preach to all our kids that we run across. We're like, listen, you're not there. I don't care if you play one down. If you go and they recruit you and you're a high recruit and they bring you to your school, it doesn't matter if you play one snap for that university. They should pay you a fully guaranteed contract because off your name, image, likeness is why you're at that school, not because you played down for them. And that's really what it is.
Stay by law by that because the simple fact that we get away with it sometimes going off a kid's performance. That's not why you brought that kid there. That's not why you told his parents. Right. Your parents is going to come there. Like, you didn't make that full commitment. So trust me, we teeter on both sides of it because we understand the process because we own businesses too. Mm-hmm. And we understand, like, man, it's a big financial commitment. But don't listen, you made that financial commitment.
You pick wrong sometimes.
Sometimes you do pick wrong.
Sometimes you own a business, you're hired the wrong guy, and that's part of it. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's why they have the transfer portal rules the way that they have them. Because, like, you could go to a school, get an NIL deal, and maybe
kids
go
don't
south.
The kids don't know they can get more than just a guaranteed deal with them.
Right.
If they really want you there, like, they're going to sign you to whatever. Trust me, they're going to sign you to as bad as you want you there. Tim Tebow could have had private planes.
He could have had all sorts of stuff.
Like, Jesus.
Tim Tebow would have been the man. He'd have been a millionaire. He didn't have to play in the NFL.
100%. He don't have to play in the NFL now, man.
I mean,
everything he does with his foundation, like, man, that dude's beyond phenomenal. Like, I wish I could tell you a bad story about Tim Tebow. But everything in my heart, everything.
And it's so weird to like see somebody that's like that because you don't find those kind of people.
Bro, we need more people like that.
All of us have met those guys in our life that are, you know what, that preach something and don't walk by that life.
Right,
and
that's true.
We've seen a guy that preached it at a young age. Imagine a guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Has everything.
Preaching, living, no sex, no drinking, no drugs, right? At 17 years old. Like, that's unheard of.
And y'all are like, yeah, screw that. I'm going out and partying.
No,
tomorrow.
we're all
what time we gotta be there?
We're all 17-year-old kids too. Hey, Tim, have a drink.
Yeah.
Man, come on, have one, bro. For the boys, for the team. No, I won't do it.
Don't do it.
No,
I don't drink.
And that's why all of us.
That's why we respect him more.
It wasn't just the football part with all us degenerates. You know what? How do you get Tim Tebow to fit in with Percy Harvin?
That's kind of where we all came from. Like, we wouldn't just respect Tim Tebow as a football player. just being a football player.
No.
Right.
The simple fact that he
the
carried
way he lived
everything
as a
outside of football, that's the reason why we gained the respect for him. We still talk about the way we do now. You know what I mean?
That's why he can lead a team like that. Like, you
100%,
can't beat Tim Tebow. I don't care if you score every touchdown in the world. If you don't live the way you live, that Christian lifestyle, you're not telling Percy Harvin to not do something. Listen. He's not going to do it.
You think
But
Brandon
he's
Spice
going to listen
like,
to Tim Tebow
hey,
because
come
the way
on, bro,
Tim
work
Tebow lives
harder.
his life.
Tim Tebow's like, bro, like, listen, if you're not living day to day like how that dude was, like, man, you went. Like, that's what I'm just telling you. Like, that's why everything he has in life right now, he deserves it. 100%.
For sure.
And like he's such a good role model just for people in general. It's like he literally was like that.
Our little nephew, my brother's son, just had on his flat. I know he wore Ohio State quarterback towel, but it said John 3:16 on it. Tebow used to wear it on his eye patch all the time. You know what I mean?
They look up to him. Like even if you're not a football
years
fan,
old, you know? Caden just turned 11, but Caden's 11 years old. We're out of football for 15 years now. He's still writing John 3:16.
That's what I respect about him, though, too. Is like everybody's like, you'll never be an NFL quarterback. That dude
Doesn't matter.
literally.
Doesn't
like,
matter. He would be one of the best NFL quarterbacks during this era right now.
Oh yeah,
because they run the ball.
The read option now, like
They run the ball. They let him be who he is. Back when he came into the NFL, they wanted pocket
he went
passers.
to the damn
He's not a pocket
Broncos.
passer.
Like, man, the Broncos at John Elway. Like, if they're not seeing John Elway back there
if you're
throwing
not
the
going to Super
football,
Bowls with them, it don't work.
And sometimes you got to be the right guy at the right time at the right
100%.
place.
We bashed Tim Tebow for not making it there, but fucking Russell Wilson didn't make it there either.
Right, exactly. So
You know what
I mean, like,
Well, I'm just being real. Like he did.
that's real.
Let's be real.
And I'll even say this, like I live down here in Georgia, so I can't stand the Georgia fans because I'm a Florida fan, right?
They wild.
So my best moment was being at a Taco Mac on Highway 92 in Woodstock, and 2008. You guys, Matthew Stafford, no Sean Marino,
great
like
game.
their team was loaded.
Yeah,
So
loaded.
was Florida. And everybody was like, "Oh, this game's gonna be close," and they were picking Georgia. Some of them were picking Florida, and y'all just completely went in there and
We set the
completely.
tone right. Brandon Spice set the tone right away from play one.
Because the year before, then they were dancing on the field. Remember they did the walk it out.
They
like
had
the whole
Muhammad Sanu. They had Massaquoi. They had a bunch of guys on that team. And that D line.
James Harrison paid them back for
Geno
me.
Atkins.
James Harrison paid them back.
I was so happy that game. Me and my brother were talking so much trash in that bar. There was people outside, like waiting on us to come out. They had to call the police, so we didn't get beat up outside. So take me back. This is another fan question. It's like, what was y'all's like greatest moments at Florida? Maybe the low. I don't know if y'all had any like really low points at Florida. But, like, what was y'all's best moments? Like, on the field, off the field? It doesn't even matter. Like, just
let's talk about the low ones first. I think our lowest moments was us getting in trouble, us being knuckleheads, us not following some of the rules. I mean, obviously, like, man, we regretted some of the fights that we got in, obviously some of the trouble that we got in throughout our lives. But the highest points, bro, is that, man, we accumulated the most team success, obviously the biggest teammate success and the coaching success with being around our coaching staff, to be able to go to the national championship, to have that glory of being down here in Miami. And the craziest part, like, man, how all this stuff works out sometimes. I go to the Steelers, and then we won our national championship down here, and then all of a sudden Mike's a Dolphin great, retired as a Dolphin great, you know what I mean? So some of this stuff that happens in our life, I tell people sometimes, like, man, some of this stuff is luck. Some of this stuff, I don't care what anyone say, like, spiritually, like, man, how we believe in it, like, man, some of that stuff all has to fall in place. And for us, like, man, obviously we make the news sometimes for getting in trouble, and it didn't affect our playing career, but some guys that do, they actually get in trouble, like, man, it affects their playing career totally. A simple fight in a nightclub or a simple mishap can change everything in your life dramatically. So we tell the people all the time, like, listen, we were them same dudes that you were. Don't be the idiots that we were sometimes as young kids trying to go out there thinking that you're bigger than life and all this thing. You wake up the next morning, now you know your whole life's in shambles, you know what I mean? Because we had them feelings. Like, we had to wake up and we had to call our head coaches. They had to call Mr. Rooney and be like, we're sorry. Like, we completely felt that, like, we're going to do whatever we got to do to make this right. And, like, and it's more of embarrassing at this point now in our lives to be able to, like, kind of, like, talk back and now and rehash some of the moments. But, like, man, trust me, kids now, athletes now, man, live the right way. Like, man, your tunnel's the light at the end of the tunnel is very, very small. So never, ever forget that aspect.
I think the biggest high for me was national championship. The biggest low would probably be when we lost in the SEC championship the year Dunlap got a DUI because
Alabama 2009.
Yeah, because I mean we had just came off national championship year, right?
Yep.
And then we had an undefeated season.
I was crushed too.
And then we go to
that was nasty.
We go to the SEC championship game and we get beat, and it's like, man, it's a reality check for all of us because it's like, damn, we were on top of the world. We just won that championship. We didn't think we could be beat. We went the whole year. We was like, man, we're gonna roll through Alabama. We're gonna win our second national championship, and then we lose. It was humble pie for a lot of us. Like we played in the Sugar Bowl that year.
Yeah,
That was your last game. That was your last game. Yeah.
I was beside a whole bunch of Alabama fans during that game.
Yeah,
I know let you have it too.
That was terrible.
It was terrible, bro.
It was terrible, but
None of us played good.
At the same time, it's like the ride that Urban sent us on. Yeah. I mean, like that was.
I forgot about
like,
that.
I'll never forget about that. Like, and I'll never forget about Ahmad Black's interception to win the Penn State game.
Gosh, bro.
Before Urban left.
Yeah, that was big time. I was in that. That was my last game.
You didn't hear the story
he was
before.
Gone for that one. You were gone for that one.
Yeah, Mike. Coach Meyer tried to put them boys in pads, and Mike had the whole team stay on the bus, rocking the bus, saying, man, we ain't practicing, not at all. Coach Meyer, you're already leaving us. And Coach Meyer said, you know what? No padded practice. The whole team get off the bus right now. So it was one of Mike's biggest moments in the college football.
Yeah, that's why you love Coach Meyer, because he was a player's coach.
He was a player coach, man. He seen one of the captains wasn't going for it, man. That's why I say, man, like, shout out Coach Meyer, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
God damn.
We miss you, by the way.
Yeah, we do miss you, Coach. Coach, we love you. Coach, we love you.
Hey, they let go of Napier, and we love Napier, but hey, listen, we hiring you back, baby.
Bring
That's
me
for sure.
Keys on staff.
You know, Urban, if you just want to come back just as a staff member for the University of Florida, you can come
Yeah,
back.
no, we'll bring him back. We'll bring
Came
Spurs
back,
back.
like, come on, man. Get off the SEC network, man. You out there hanging out with Tebow too much. And who you with now? Ingram, Mark Ingram. Get out away from Mark Ingram. Hang out with the Pouncey twins and the Gators.
Well, I do appreciate you guys. I mean,
thank you.
I know this interview was going to be like 20, 30. We went 50.
Nah, that's fine. Yeah, that's awesome. That's
Oh, my
good.
gosh. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So, is there anything that you guys would like to say to Florida Gator Nation? I know that the 2024 season, it's about to begin. You got Miami coming to Gainesville.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, I want the predictions, obviously.
So we're predicting that Florida kicks ass.
Yeah.
It's opening day in the swamp. But listen, this 2024 season, Gator Nation, we're looking forward to it. We're all excited for it. Let's get behind Billy Napier and the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that this season's one to remember. We got the talent for it. I can tell you one thing: football players play better when people are supporting them.
That's it.
And there's no switch that you cut on right before the game. But if the fans are there to support you, win, lose, or draw, it makes you play better. And I just feel like we have the best fans in all of college football. And if Gator Nation shows up, it's going to help Billy Napier. It's going to help the University of Florida, and it's going to get us over that hump that we need to get over.
Hey, and shout out to Florida Gators. Man, y'all support Florida Victorious. Nate and Jose, I'm telling you right now, them guys are unbelievable, phenomenal. They got a great thing going for that student athletes there. And the Pouncey twins and the University of Florida are totally behind them for sure.
And make sure you guys pick up some Twin P whiskey from shopjfhaydens.com. I know a lot of you folks have asked me, like, hey, where do I get this from?
Steve Spurrier's place with a lychee martini on the market right now.
We're in Gainesville. So we're in Gainesville,
go
guys.
support Steve Spurrier and his restaurant, man. Make him a millionaire, baby.
That's it.
He already is.
I'm going to tell you this. I mean, like this stuff is so smooth, especially for the price point. Like I said at the beginning.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Man, trust me. Like I said, Dave, thank you for the shout out, man. We appreciate it, man. Seriously. A lot of success to you.
You shot us out on the vlog, and I promise we had like 15 orders of whiskey bottles.
Real talk, bro. I'm like, man, who is this guy? So shout out to you, bro. Real talk.
I'm that kind of guy. I just pop out of nowhere.
I promise you, bro. Appreciate it.
I'm like the shortest dude you'll ever meet. I'll be hiding in the corner, and then I just pop out of nowhere, right?
You got a big shadow.
Well, I will say I appreciate you guys for coming.
God bless.
Thank you.
It is just I can't even explain it. It's surreal that I get to interview former national championship winners of the team, first round draft picks. I'm starstruck right now.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You got a good thing going, man. Stay to it, bro.
Yeah,
we're glad you're a part of Gator Nation, baby.
Hell yeah,
we got somebody good on their hands.
Good people deserve good things. You one of them dudes, bro. So keep going with it.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, it means a lot. And, folks, if you haven't checked out Twin P Whiskey,
please do.
Go ahead, check it out.
Please do.
You can get it at shopjfhaydens.com. You can just send me a DM. I'll tell you where to get it from. All right, or you can send one of them.
Or you can send us DMs too.
Hey, we
always respond.
We might see your case.
Yeah, there you go. Guys,
yes,
thank you, brother.
Bro.
God bless you, man. Thank you. Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Go Gators, baby.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Yes, sir.